Let's make some noise. Come on.
Well, listen, hey, I know a lot of people out there are wanting me to get on here and, unload with the double barrels, right? Some of you are thinking I'm going to get on here and take a victory lap. Some of you also might think I'm going to come on here and be extremely obnoxious about all of this, right? You are all right, but I'm an Eagles fan. And I hurt just like you do. The problem is, or the difference between me and you is I have already resigned myself years ago that this is not going to work. So this hurt that I feel right now is sort of tempered in that direction. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Final Word. Here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call, our first episode of our new broadcast week. And unfortunately, I got to be here to tell you that down goes Frazier. Yeah, it's ended. It's over. The opportunity, that's what it was, a straight opportunity handed to the Eagles on a silver platter this year to usher in the Eagle dynasty, something that the fans of this city and the fans of this team, or fans of this city's team, deserve more than anything else. But that opportunity is now gone, and the Eagles failed as they lose tonight 23-19. And yes, the finger pointing has begun. It's now, what is it? We're going after Kevin Padula first. That's the first person on the finger point list. Right? Now A.J. Brown slided in a hot second place on that list, right? Blaming him. I don't know. Do you think Nick Sirianni comes third on the list? Maybe. Probably a distant third. I don't hear much heat coming his way. I hear nothing about Howie Roseman. Not a word about him. He is responsible as much as anybody else is for this. This team was not prepared, personnel-wise, to repeat and usher in an Eagles dynasty. And that falls upon the general manager. And back in March, April, May, it was a huge topic of mine that this team was not being put into the best position to repeat. So Howie Roseman deserves to come out on that list at some point. But what name I don't hear, and it infuriates me more than anything to why this team failed this year, has been Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is 100% responsible for the failure of the Philadelphia Eagles, along with others, not solely. And we're going to break this game down tonight. 23-19, the season's over. By the way, thank you very much, Mike Lara. He took over the Birds Flyby early in the season and has done a great job piloting that program through the 2025-26 season into the playoffs. And unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to the Birds Flyby for at least another year. But we'll bring it back next season bigger, better, and better than it was this year. So thank you to Mike Laro for some great work there with the Eagles postgame. Pretty much solely in charge of that. Did I even? Yeah, I think I appeared once on it. But that was his baby, and he ran with it, and I want to thank him very much. The Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, of course, now will not be seen until the Thursday after the Super Bowl. This is when me and Kyle will reconvene and put a bow on this season and get you ready for the 2026 season, which hopefully will bring a vast amount of change on this football team. And tonight, I don't know if we're going to get into that. We're going to finger point here, obviously. But maybe we'll share our plans and save our discussion for the future later on in the week, because there's going to be plenty of time. About 5.5 months, 7 months, something like that. What is it now? When's week one? When's week 1, 2026? February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Okay, it's about 8 months. We have to wait. God damn, 8 months. That's what sucks about the end of the football season. Regardless if your team wins the Super Bowl, loses in the playoffs, doesn't make the playoffs, you got a long-ass offseason ahead, man. The longest in all the four majors. And that's what really sucks about football, honestly. We'll try to break other ground. Of course, the Bo Bichette news is huge right now with the Phillies. They'll have a second meeting tomorrow in town. to discuss potential possibilities of Bo Bichette being a Philly. I don't know if we'll get to that, but if we do, we'll talk about it. Flyers, Sam Ersson, all that. Well, that's up there, but if you guys don't want to talk about it, I understand. Your day in Philadelphia sports history, your of the night segment, which again, we probably will not get to that tonight, and we probably won't get to the card either, but we'll try. We'll do our best. But yeah, so obviously the topic of the night, 23-19, Eagles lose. And right, we got Star Wars coming in from the top rope saying fire the whole team. Oh, man. Hurts sucks. Listen, Jalen Hurts does, and this is where I get vilified. I get hung up on a cross for this. I don't hate Jalen Hurts. I honestly don't. I just don't have a blind love and, cult-like following of his ability as a quarterback. He's not elite. And that was on display tonight. Lost in all this, lost in the refs, lost in the drop passes, lost in the play calling, is the fact that your quarterback, and I refer to him as yours, not yours, Star Wars, but yours as the Eagle Nation, because he's not my quarterback. Never really was. But your quarterback failed to do what elite quarterbacks do. And they take the team on their backs. They take the team on their shoulders, and they lead them to victory. None of that was on display tonight because, again, this game followed the same script that every other game in this season has followed since week 1 against Dallas. A strong to average strong offensive first half and disappear completely in the second. It's not an anomaly. What happened tonight offensive for this football team is not something that just happened this week. It's been going on since week friggin' 1. Go back and look at the tape. All right? Go back and look at the tape because this is what it's been since week 1. So again, I don't know why people are upset that the offense once again came up small in the second half. They've been doing it all year. We've been talking about it all season. But your elite quarterback, if you truly have an elite quarterback, if you truly have one, he picks you up at these certain points of a game like this when nothing else seems to be working, again, offensively. And he pulls you across that finish line. That's what an elite quarterback does. What a game manager does and what a good quarterback does is exactly what Jalen Hurts did tonight. Did anybody out there have any faith that the Eagles were going to come back on that final drive and score a touchdown? You did it. Even the biggest homer out there, even the grand poobah of the homers, did not have faith that was going to happen because of one reason, and it wasn't Kevin Padula. That wasn't the reason why you didn't have faith. It was because of Jalen Hurts that you did not have faith that this team was going to come back and win. Again, I'm not pinning the game on Jalen. He did exactly what he's been doing since every season of his career since 2020, with the exception of 2022. Nothing different except for that one season. So a lot of the stuff that I get blamed for, it's unfair because I'm just bringing to light what the homers fail to see. And that's okay. I can do that. I excel in that. So again, I'm not hating Jalen Hurts tonight. Jalen did exactly what Jalen does. And yes, the it factor, whatever that is. I told you, I'm not going to apologize for taking a victory lap. I'm going to. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to be obnoxious about this. Absolutely. Because I was right. I was right about everything. Now, homers, time to take the medicine, man. Time to open up, man, or drop them pants. It's coming. And like men, you should. Right? That's how this works. Again, I hurt, though. I do. I feel bad. I do. I honestly do feel bad. But my bad feelings are a little different than everyone else's. And that's really messed up. It is. It's messed up for me. I used to be like you. I really did. And I want to go back to those days. I truly want to go back to those days. But until Howie Roseman's fired, until Nick Sirianni is fired, Until we actually find a franchise quarterback, I can't. I can't go back. And unfortunately, things like tonight have to happen in order for me to be able to come back to the nest, so to speak. That's just the reality. And I'm telling you, that's just how I am. That's the boat I'm in right now. So Hurts doesn't suck. He doesn't. Nah, he doesn't suck. He's not elite, but he doesn't suck. Joe, how you doing? Jalen Hurts needs to be held accountable. Yeah. This was a night where you needed a franchise quarterback. This is a night when you needed a Tom Brady, right? Or apparently a Brock Purdy. That's what you needed tonight, a Brock Purdy, in order to win. I know we're going to compartmentalize this game down to 4 drop passes, right? We're going to boil all the action down to 4 drop passes. That's why the Eagles lost. You know, we're going to boil down to the refs. The refs, once again, were against us, right? We're going to boil it down to the defense. And again, I'm going to break all this down. You know, the defense did fine. Did they play elite tonight? No. They forced 2 friggin' turnovers. And the offense scored, 3 points off of those 2 turnovers? Don't throw the defense out at me. I'm not talking negatively about the defense. They had their same MO. They got gashed late. They got tired late. Even though the Eagles won the battle of time of possession. You're not going to sit here and tell me that a defense that forced 2 turnovers is to blame for a loss here tonight by 4 points, right? No one's going to actually sit here and attempt to sing that tune, right? You did as a defense what you're supposed to do. You flipped the field for them. They didn't take advantage of it. Trey Brown and Trey Jalen fire Sirianni. There we go, man. Kaepernick coming off the top rope too. I would love for all that to happen. They're not going to do any of that. Now, of course, the big thing I'm waiting on now is going to be what Howie's going to say about all this at the end of the season, right? That should be what, next week, this week, depending on if it snows. Remember, like we had to wait 8 days because of a snowstorm. When does Howie sit down and address the media? What lies is he going to perpetrate? But again, that's a name that's not being talked about. That needs to be talked about. What did Howie Roseman do, or more importantly, did not do, to set up this team for success? You had an opportunity to usher in the Eagle dynasty. It's gone. That opportunity is gone right now. You had it right there. You had it in your hands. And you let it slip away. So I don't think you did the right amount of work in the offseason. But I would love for all this to happen, Kaepernick. There ain't no way they're doing all this. I'm gonna have to endure another year of Nick Sirianni, another year of Jalen Hurts. And I hope they keep Kevin Padula. Because you cannot keep also ushering in new offensive coordinators. We've tried this. I mean, good God, this would be what? 7 now? Everyone wants to think that it's the offensive coordinator that's the problem. It's not, man. It's the friggin' team. The only success, consistent success, and when we talk success in the NFL, we talk championships. The only time they did that was when they had an other than worldly performance of a season by Saquon Barkley. And that's another thing that's not going to be talked about, of why the offense suffered so heavily in 2025. You didn't have the kind of production from Saquon that you got in 2024. And again, I'm not saying you had to replicate it, but he came nowhere near being that dominant. And everyone wants to start wondering, oh, it's the play. No, it's not, man. It's not the play calls. Were they the best? No. Of course they weren't. There was a lot better offensive minds out in football. I'll give you that. But when you have the $200 million offense, and what did Big Al say this morning? That all they got to do is just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And we'll be okay because we'll ride the backs of our defense. Well, I mean, what was it? 13 points tonight in the first half, 6 points in the second half. Again, second half problems. A team that scored that averaged 10 points a half in the second half in 2025? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all he said. That's all he had to do. And the defense would take care of the rest. Well, do we blame the coordinator again? What happens when we bring in another coordinator? And then the same issues are. When is the city going to accept that it's maybe the play caller, yeah, but that damn quarterback needs to be held accountable? When is that going to happen? How many more coordinators have we got to run through before we figure that out? Now, in a perfect world, Sirianni would be fired because of Kevin Padula either not wanting to fire him or a complete change of the coaching staff because they fired Sirianni. I proposed a mock trade to get rid of Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to the Raiders in return for Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, and the Raiders' first-round pick this year. Now, that would be amazing if all that happened. I mean, I'd be dancing in the streets. I don't think all that's going to happen. We might get one of them, and it's probably going to be the sacrificial lamb of Kevin Padula, which is going to do absolutely nothing different to this team next year. He's got the same people piloting the same ship. What is it? Same circus, different clowns kind of thing? Come on, Star Wars, man. I think you're just talking crazy talk now, man. Can we talk Bo Bichette? We can talk whatever we want there, Joe. I'll get into some Bo Bichette. Tom Brady kept saying his offense has no rhythm. Well, Tom, the offense and play calling with all the talent has been inept. But Tom Brady was right. I mean, how many clean huddles? How many times have you seen the Eagles meandering to the huddle, meandering out of the huddle? There didn't seem to be any sort of urgency. The quarterback, the one that's in charge of all that, just didn't really seem to kind of inspire that type of crisp type, let's go, motivation. I understand what Tom. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and bash Tom Brady. The man won 7 Super Bowls, arguably the best quarterback of all time. I'm not going to sit here and bash. If he says that there's no rhythm with the offense, I'm going to go ahead and believe him. All right? No, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm not a Tom Brady guy. I'm going to go out on a limb and kind of think, I think this guy knows what he's talking about. He's been inside those huddles, right? And Tom Brady's won with less weapons than Jalen Hurts has had. Listen, there is something to that. Again, that's the it factor that Jalen Hurts has, right? What is it, Al? Are you listening out there? Come on, you're part of the inner Homer circle. Are you listening? Tell me what the it factor is right now. I want to know, because it ain't picking up the team and carrying them across the finish line. Your defense did enough tonight. They didn't do great, but whenever you win the turnover battle, and I don't care, they forced 2 turnovers in this game. They put the offense in a position to cash in, and the offense failed them. The offense failed them, and that goes to everybody associated with the offensive side of the football, not just the coordinator. And I know what we're going to do. We're going to want the pound of flesh for Kevin Padula. I called it, man. I called it earlier in the week. If they lost, there's going to be pitchforks. There's going to be torches surrounding the Padula residence because people apparently know where he lives because his house has been egged. And they're going to want to force him out of town. Well, after you're done there, you need to go over to the Jalen Hurts residence and do the same thing. He does not deserve a pass here. You pump him up like he's elite. You pay him like he's elite. He has never performed as an elite quarterback with the exception of the 2022 season. That's just fact. So he needs to be held accountable too. Don't like bend, but don't break defense. Now, listen, again, they forced 2 turnovers. They did their job. They will be. Absolutely, Kaepernick. As soon as I get through these comments here, we're gonna get to the phone lines. I've been saying this defense would have to play at a high level, but will wear out by the playoffs, and the defense looked tired. They did, but I honestly thought, and that was the basis of why I picked the Eagles to win this game, because I thought, based on the basically the bye week last week, they would come in and be rejuvenated. Now, after that first, geez Louise, that first SF drive where Quinion looked very foolish, but they obviously made up for it later on in the game with 2 picks. But I was like, oh no, because now they got to play from behind, and that's not going to be good for this offense. Again, I'm not hanging. The defense played it well enough tonight, 100%. They weren't elite. They got gashed, but they only gave up 23 points. You have a $200 million offense. You can't overcome 23 points. You have an elite quarterback. You can't overcome 23 points. I know you can't, but I'm just saying you should be able to. Sixers lost. Yeah. Oh, well. Trade Brown. I think they should. This might also need it. This is also the night we needed a real head coach and an offensive coordinator. If the buffoon head coach plays the starters last week and win, the Eagles aren't playing it. You know, we can Monday morning quarterback. I think overall that was the right decision. All right, I do. Listen, the San Francisco 49ers, again, what did we hear all week? They're down to their 5th string linebacker core, right? Oh, there's no reason why this game should be a problem. They're a one-trick pony. It's Christian McCaffrey, who is good, man, and he's a difference maker out there. But they're a one-trick pony, and you're the Super Bowl champions. So I don't care if it's the Packers, if it's the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Panthers, whoever. You're the friggin' Super Bowl. Sorry, you were the Super Bowl champions. Go out and be whoever you want, whenever you need to, wherever you need to. I'm not, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not going there. Not at all. Every GM in the NFL lies. Lying GMs is nothing new in any sport. Yeah, well, didn't work out now, did it? All right, let's go to the day and let's man, I'm like almost 30 minutes in. I haven't even done my day in Philadelphia sports history. I am delinquent. So let's break from the action here. I do not have a schedule for you. We are still. I got to wait till tomorrow night until the Steeler game and pump out a new schedule. But I can tell you there will be no Birds Blast this week. The Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn is now not done for the year, but we will not return until the Thursday after the Super Bowl, and we'll put everything to bed. And there will be no Birds Flyby next week. I guess you could probably figure out that by now. No Birds Flyby, no Birds Blast this week. So, unfortunately, we got to say goodbye to those shows. As I said, the Birds Blast is going to be said goodbye to just temporarily until we get through the rest of the season. And then the Birds Flyby, unfortunately, is gone until next year. But all right, let's do it. Let's strap it in, strap it on, strap it up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go, 1981. It's pretty ironic that I'm talking about this. This was the day that a young MattyB, very young MattyB, I was what? 7 years old. Let me paint the picture here. 7 years old, running around Mayfair. Well, running around my street. Obviously, I wasn't running around the neighborhood of Mayfair at 7, but I was running around my block like we all did. Very cold, bitter, gray winter day in Philadelphia, January 11th, 1981. And one of the houses down at the end of the corner, near the corner of the block, was having they were all gathered to watch a football game. So I'm 7 years old. Now, partly, again, this is back in the days where we grew up in neighborhoods without locked doors. Neighbors were essentially extended members of your family. You would walk in and out of people's houses all day. They'd feed you. They'd give you stuff to drink. You know what I'm saying? They would take care of you. That's what it was like for me growing up. I know it's not like that anymore, but back then it was. And on this day, we were all running around. It was bitterly cold out, and one of the neighbor moms looked out and said, "Hey, you three, come in here and warm up. You've been out here running around in this weather for hours." So we went in, and everyone was gathered in front of the TV, and what they were watching was this. Known for a long time as simply the Dallas game, the underdog Eagles defeated the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game 20-7 at Veterans Stadium. 70,696 fans braved the -3 wind chill to witness the Birds reach their very first ever Super Bowl. The bitter cold made passing the ball a tough proposition. Jaworski had just 91 yards passing. I would have taken that today. For Philadelphia, thankfully, running back Wilbert Montgomery was dominant, pounding the vaunted Dallas Cowboys for 194 yards on the ground, scoring once. His rushing total was the 4th best mark in playoff history. Currently now it's the 10th. Now, you got to understand the context here. And I happened to, when we entered the house that day, I was actually there to watch the Wilbert Montgomery handoff up the seam, the big rush for the touchdown. That was the play that I saw. Now, growing up in Philadelphia, obviously you're indoctrinated into the Eagles and all the Philadelphia sports culture very early on, but something has to happen for it to take hold or to take root. And that was that for me. That moment, that play, that time of watching Wilbert Montgomery run up the seam and score that touchdown to essentially send the Eagles on the Super Bowl 15. That was the moment in time that I became an Eagle fan. And I'll never forget it. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. It's pretty ironic on a night like tonight that happened. But on this day back in 1981, Philadelphia Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys 20-7 in earning their first ever trip to a Super Bowl in a eventual loss to the Oakland Raiders. And that was your day in Philadelphia sports history. And a little bit of a lesson about MattyB's past. I don't know if you guys wanted that, but that was brought to you by the fine folks over here at the Clear the Ice, because this is all I got left to live for until March. I call a lie, man. This is it for me. Go Flyers. Tomorrow night, Mike Laro will be back for the back end of the home against the Lightning. He'll also be here Wednesday for the Sabres. I got you Thursday against the Penguins and Saturday against the Rangers. As we've been reduced now to one. Well, for you Sixer fans out there, you got them. But the winter sports are now reigning supreme until sometime here in about a month when we'll turn the page to baseball. And that's another thing that sucks about losing in the wild card, right? You know, last year you had a Super Bowl championship. 2 or 3 days later, friggin' spring training. Now we got to wait a month. So a lot of domino effect tonight here about the Eagles losing. But make sure you're tuned into the It's a Wrap and the Clear the Ice show until things get better. And hopefully tomorrow we have some Bo Bichette news for you as they can help us out, man. Help us ease our pain. Oh, man. Yeah, Lion GM. So Jalen under center, 99%. It's a run. There's no motion, no trickery, but that's on Jalen calling no motion or trickery. And I'm not saying that there, Kaepernick. Listen, I've already told you I put some blame on the play calling as well. But for this elite quarterback, why can't we just make it happen? I don't remember ever talking about no trickery, no motion, no nothing with Tom Brady. I don't remember that being brought up about Joe Montana. I don't remember that about Steve Young. Matter of fact, Steve Young took the majority of his stuff out of the shotgun. Right? Elite quarterback. Game manager, he needs help, and I'll give you that. And he probably didn't get that. Now the question the $1 million question is, what went wrong with the offense? You're going to have to face facts, Kaepernick. Jalen Hurts is not elite. Jalen Hurts is a game manager. Now, I know you're not part of the Hurts huggers. I know you're not a Jalenite. I know you're not part of that cult. But to come to the terms and the grips that Jalen Hurts is just top 15, top 10 in this league is pretty much where you have to come to grips with it. And yes, with that being said, maybe he did need more help on the sidelines. But they weren't running much different offensive schemes than they were last year. But the difference last year was they had a running attack that they never had all year for whatever reason. You needed an elite quarterback tonight. I don't care about the play calling. You needed an elite quarterback tonight, and you didn't get one because you don't have one. That's the bottom line to me. What this is emotions, but there is 0%. No, that's not 0% chance. There's, we said the same thing about Nick Castellanos walking off the field in LA, and to date, he's still a Philly. I mean, come on, man. There's never a 0%. There's never a 0 or 100% chance of anything. When A.J. Brown cried, the OC and AC gave against Dallas, the Bears, and Chargers, the Eagles lost all three. Yeah, and he cried tonight too. But by the way, I'm not going to blow that all out of proportion tonight. It tells me A.J. Brown is engaged. Now, whether he was crying about whether that was selflessness or selfishness, I don't know. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that tonight. I'm not going to blow that out of proportion. Don Matty won't make a difference for the Phillies bench. No, but he'll make a difference when he's the manager in June. Absolutely. Dave checks in. MattyB isn't a beautiful night. Listen, Dave, no, man, it's a sucky night. It's a sucky night because a lot of people were banking on this. A lot of people had their hopes and their dreams snatched away in the middle of the night by Jalen Hurts. Come on, let's face it, man. Right? Even the more staunchest homers that I've heard, and I haven't been listening to much because I was busy most of the night running around doing some things. So I was watching the game sort of, secondarily. So I really have a chance to get down and listen to some of the, I'll listen to it now, probably later on tonight. But, what I did hear was there was not much blame being placed at the feet of Jalen Hurts. There was a lot of blame being placed at 4 drop passes and a ton of blame being placed on the offensive coordinator, but not much being shoveled on the way to Jalen Hurts. And that was really upsetting to me because even at this darkest hour, and I guess I got to give him credit, even at the darkest hour, these homers are still going to hold service here and say that the quarterback wasn't the problem. Well, he sure as hell wasn't the answer either. When you needed one tonight from your franchise quarterback, you didn't get it. And without a running game, which you haven't had all season, you haven't really pretty much gotten any answers from Jalen Hurts most of the year. That's just the reality of it. It's just the reality. I will be on tomorrow night. As far as I know, I will. Trade A.J. Brown. Star Wars wants to blow it all up, man. All right, let's open up the phone lines because yes, you guys do deserve that. I will put them up there. I want to hear your responses. So here they are. Phone lines are open. If you want to join the conversation, click the link. It'll put you backstage. I'll put you on stage, and we'll have some fun with this. So, phone lines are open. You guys know the drill here. I don't have to see you, but I have to be able to speak to you and hear you. So, see, and you have to be able to listen or hear and talk. Let's go over some of the stat lines for tonight while we wait here, as people are starting to jump in. But let's go over some of the stat lines. 2 for 3 tonight in the red zone. 13 points in the first half, 6 in the second. They committed 7 penalties for 48 yards. Once again, and this was something that dogged them all year too. This ain't Jalen Hurts' fault. But this team has been highly penalized all season long. Entered this game literally over 1,000 yards in penalty yardage in 2025. And they were once again snake bitten when it came to the penalties. Whether or not you agree with them, whether or not you thought they weren't or were penalties, they were still flagged and they still were assessed. So 7 penalties for 48 yards. That's too much in a playoff game. But they forced 2 turnovers. And they did not commit any. They got to Brock Purdy one time for 1 yard. I'm sorry, Jalen got sacked one time for 1 yard. And Purdy went down once for 5 yards. And the Eagles were a season best. They hadn't put out this sort of output on 4th down all year. They were a season best 3 for 5 on 4th downs. Apparently, they were put in a lot of 4th down and short positions and pretty much converted on a lot of them. And there you go. That's my last stat line of the year. And those numbers that I read to you, that's it. There's no math involved. These are one and done numbers. And now it's time to look forward to 2026. But a lot of very similar numbers from this season. A lot of the similar problems cropped up tonight for this football team. 7 penalties for 48 yards. Not many people are talking about that. This has been a problem all year. And that to me is coaching. I'll 100% agree with that. That is coaching. One, you don't fear accountability for committing penalties. And two, you're not being taught proper technique or proper discipline in order to not be flagged. The 13 points in the first half, 6 in the second half. I mean, I've been literally reading that all season. The only thing that's been different was it's a different number, but it's always been around 10 or less in that second half. I think 3 or 4 games this season, they've scored more than 10 points in the second half. What happens to the offense at halftime? What's going on? What are they doing? We broke down those numbers last week with Kyle. For the season, the Eagles scored 204 points in the first half of action in 2025. That's an average of about 13 points a half, which isn't really breaking down the world, but it's still 13 points. It's still 2 touchdowns. And then they come out and they scored 160 points in second halves for 160 yards, which is 10 points on the nose. Yeah, man, these numbers don't lie. And as I said, I am not pinning this on Jalen Hurts. I'm not. This is what Jalen is. He's a game manager. Oh, man. Joe, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Good, Joe. How are you?
I don't want to talk Eagles. You talked enough. I want to talk Phillies. Both
Eagles, Joe. It's Victory Sunday. You don't want to talk Eagles?
No. I'll let everybody else. I'm a big time Phillies fan rather than Eagles. Phillies are my first favorite team.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna give you some breaking news about Bo Bichette. He's in Philly tonight.
I had actually heard he was at the game. I heard he was at the game.
He was at the Flyers game last night.
I heard he was at the Eagles game today.
I didn't hear that. He was at the Flyers game last night. The game that they got shelled. Bryce Harper and who was it? Wheeler took Bo Bichette to the Flyers game last night.
Yeah, you were there, weren't you?
Yes.
Did you see
he
them?
Was yes. He was on a Jumbotron.
Okay.
He was in a suite, like free suites next to me.
So what do you want to talk about Bo Bichette? Let's talk some Bo Bichette, man.
He's gonna what would you do? How much money would you give him? Because you seen Bregman signed a deal late last night.
I did. So here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this. Bo Bichette's, I don't think Bo Bichette's looking for a 5-year deal. I don't think Bo Bichette's looking for a 7-year deal. I think Bo Bichette's looking for another one of those 11-year deals. 11, 12, 13-year deals. He's looking for that mega one that's going to lock him up for the rest of his career. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And if they can, somewhere in the range of 250, 260.
I heard 10 years, $300 million.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And hopefully it's on the back end. Most of that money's on the back end, I would pray.
Yes.
But he's not looking for a 5-year deal. He's looking for a long-term, like, this is it commitment. You know what I mean?
Yes, and it's being reported that if he signs a deal, which Phillies are the front runners right now, because he said no to Boston. He said no to the Yankees. He wants to play on the East. The Dodgers said no to him.
Listen, I would sign him in a heartbeat. I would sign him in a heartbeat because obviously, but there is some ramifications to this. And I mentioned this on the social media here a couple days ago. There's domino effects to this move. What are you doing with Aiden Miller?
You are trading him.
That's what I'm saying. He's blocked. You're going to have to.
Can Miller go to second?
So Miller came up a third baseman. He was converted to a shortstop. I think he might have taken some plays at second. I mean, I'm sure they can make him a second baseman, but here's the thing. Assuming you don't trade. I mean, assuming you don't trade Bohm or Stott. I know that maybe that's not the answer, but assume you don't trade neither one of those guys. You got Bohm, who's under contract for 1 more year in 26. You got Stott, who's under contract for 2 more years at the end of 27. So you're looking at least 3 years. You're looking at the end of 27 before Aiden Miller would actually even get a shot up here. I mean, that's too long. That's too long for him to toil down AAA. You have to move him to maximize on what you're going to get from him as a prospect. Now, assuming you do trade
Bohm.
Yeah, let's trade Bohm. Let's trade Bohm right now, okay? But here's the problem. That hasn't worked all season long. That hasn't worked 2 years now. No one's taking Bohm. You're going to have to sweeten the Bohm offer. And Aiden Miller would sweeten that Bohm offer.
Money. They're going to put in money for Bohm. Apparently,
I don't know, man.
The Orioles want Bohm. It's being reported that you're going to go get Jeffrey from Minnesota, the catcher.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so am I.
But you go trade Bohm for Rushman. Baltimore wants Bohm.
They're not giving Adley Rushman up for Alec Bohm, dude. Dude, if it was that easy, Joe, I'd be a general manager in baseball, man. Come on.
It's going to be Bohm, Stott, and a pitcher.
So who's playing second base? Who?
Aiden Miller.
So Aiden Miller, who has played 1 game in AAA in his entire career, is making the team out of camp, and he's going to be the second baseman. Oh, man. Joe, where'd you go? That's all right. I'll talk to Ricky. Ricky, what's going on, man?
And go Flyers.
Let's go Flyers indeed, Ricky, because guess what? They're the only game in town. Well, no, the Sixers. You got the Flyers. You got the Sixers, Ricky deal. What happened to the Eagles, Ricky? No, you're right.
Not.
Are you okay? Are you heartbroken, Ricky? Do you want to get rid of first of all, are you okay about what happened tonight? Are you upset? Tell me how you're feeling. You're okay? Okay, good. I'm glad you're okay. Second question. Fire Sirianni? You're saying fire Sirianni. What about trade Jalen Hurts? No. What about trade AJ Brown?
No.
So we're firing Sirianni, but we're keeping Hurts. We're keeping Brown. What about Kevin Padula? You firing him? And we're firing Padula too. Okay. Hey, listen, I that might happen. Listen, that might happen, Ricky Deal. We saw a similar situation break down a few years ago with Doug Peterson when he was asked to fire. The hell was that guy's name? Well, anyway, whoever Mike Rowe was his name, I think the offensive coordinator. Peterson said, "I ain't firing Mike Rowe, or I ain't firing my friend," and then they ended up firing Doug Peterson over the situation. So you might get that. And I honestly, listen, that's a start, man, and I wouldn't be upset about that. 2 for 1. All right, Ricky. Listen, man. Flyers tomorrow night against the Lightning. Okay? I assume you saw what happened the other night against Tampa, right? And you saw the performance of Sam Ersson. Have you seen enough of Sam Ersson in goal for the Flyers? Yeah, and I was hoping to hear something today. I really was, and I hope maybe to hear something tomorrow, but I don't want to see Sam Ersson back out there. I think that it's time for the Eagles or the Flyers to move on from Ersson. So, all right, my man. Tomorrow night? Tomorrow night, indeed. Ricky Deal. Good stuff, man. It's good to have Ricky on all night without his phone line dropping. Usually about 30 seconds into the conversation, Ricky zips away. Trade Sirianni while you're at. That's right. We could do that. We could trade Sirianni. Package Sirianni, Brown, and Hurts to the Raiders. Yeah. For Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, their first-round draft pick, and the rights to the Las Vegas A name, which apparently the people who own the Las Vegas A's lost out on trying to the copyright, which is hilarious to me. Joe House says, Elliott sucks. Yeah, and that's another name we haven't mentioned tonight. You know, that missed extra point early on in this football game was huge. But so was the missed extra point from the 49er kicker. Kicking was not the name of the game tonight. Does Joe Elliott, or Jake Elliott, call him Joe Elliott. Jake Elliott, one of the only Super Bowl remnant players from Super Bowl 52. Does your 9 happen for him? And what about Lane Johnson? Have we seen the last of Lane Johnson? There's a lot of questions heading into this offseason. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm concerned. And there's going to be plenty of time to sort of weigh this. And I'm going to get into what I already have a plan, of course, worked out in my head that I'd like to see. And we'll wait for some more time to sort of come through. Oh, Michael Papernick, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Matty? Now,
well.
I want to start off with, before we get to the Eagles, this Bo Bichette thing. If the Phillies sign him, I'm going to repeat myself. He's playing left field, or Bryce is going to the outfield. They can't sign this kid because they got Baum and you got Stott in the way. And there's no tradable markets. There's no, you know what? If you sign Bichette, you trade Miller and bring in some people because they're fools. Know what they're trying to do? They're trying to mask the bad situation that's happening with Bichette and screw the pitching staff. You know, Ranger Suarez is sitting out there. You know, and everything else. You can go get somebody. Oh no, we ain't worried about that. You know, no. And
that's a good point, Papernick, that no one's talking about. This move right now from Dombrowski, this is a panic move. This is a panic move because JT won't sign his contract. And this is also telling everybody out there that the plan was to indeed run this thing back. And now we can't run it back because you can't get a catcher. Now you're going to, I gotta save face. I got to go after another marquee name. This is all this is there, Papernick. It's a panic move. And I agree with you 100%. And I hope people see through that.
It's I like Bichette, but what are they going to do? I mean, what are they just going to get? I mean, what are you just going to give Baum away and Stott away or whatever? What just to give them away now? I mean, you know what I mean, for nothing? Because that's what's going to happen. As soon as they sign Bichette, the Phillies are going to get peanuts for either one of them guys because they know they're stuck against the wall and can't move. That's what's going to happen. Every GM is going to salivate what they can get from the Phillies for these guys, which will be a nothing player.
Unless, as you said, you move Alec Boehm to first, Bryce Harper into right, and then Garcia to left, and platoon Nick Castellanos, who's apparently he's part of the team next year. Castellanos could platoon off the bench. I mean,
the silver line in the Castellanos, I said this to my buddy today, if there's just a slither of it, it's a contract year for him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Could he show up? But, you know, now I want to get to the Eagles. Now, first I want to get to this Tom Brady and all these elite. Jalen is not an elite quarterback. We know this. He's not a top 10 quarterback. But here's the difference between Tom Brady and them other guys. Tom Brady had the same coordinator for at least 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Charlie Weiss, O'Brien, Josh McDaniels. This guy hasn't had that. Okay? All these good quarterbacks. Joe Montana, he had Bill Walsh as a head coach running the team with Mike Shanahan and them there. George Seifert, who was it, Marty Manwaring, Marinucci, somebody. He had all the. What is Jalen? Don't have that. What happens? And now, don't get me wrong. Jalen takes a lot of the blame. He has to take it. He's the quarterback, but. What do you do when you know you got an inept offensive coordinator who's not trying to adapt to anything for Jalen? Remember the Super Bowl year that Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady? They changed the offense around halfway through the season to fit Tom. there's no adaptability for this
Well,
Eagles team.
The Eagles did that last year. They changed the offense to fit around Jalen Hurts by running the ball with Saquon Barkley. That wasn't working again this year. So,
okay.
And again, I know you have a different offensive coordinator. Listen, that's my point. I think Jalen's a good quarterback. I do. It's this elite conversation that I have to hear every day by these people. And to me, tonight was the night you needed an elite quarterback, and you didn't get one because you don't have one. Now, we can blame the offensive coordinator for not. You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. But at the end of the day, that talent out there on the field, that elite level quarterback, alleged that he is, and we both agree that he's not, needs to rise above all that crap and do the best he can. Kaepernick, did you have confidence in the Eagles in that final drive? Did you have confidence in them?
I didn't have confidence. I'd hope. I'll say I'd hope maybe, but here's the thing. People want to put it. It's this defense can't. I said in the room, it was going to tire out. And this does fall on Sirianni because if they won that game last week, they're playing the Packers.
Yeah.
Just remember that he did not want to play his stars, but everybody else in the NFL did because they're such a juggernaut offense. And he just said in a press conference they have an identity a couple days ago. That's the delusional part of a head coach who needs to be fired, along with his offensive coordinator. Okay, if they can trade Jalen, okay, see what you can get. Like I said, call Cincinnati up. Who knows? Maybe Joe Burrows will finally call Buffalo up. Maybe they'll finally give them an ultimatum. Listen, give me some players or trade me. I don't know.
For a first-round draft pick, Jalen Hurts can get you a first-round pick.
I know. What I'm saying is you got to get creative. Otherwise, we know Brown's got to go. The problem is Smith's not a number one.
Nope.
I hate to say it. I like Smith, and he's been there. He's a good two. And they need so you're going to have to figure that one out. They got to get a tight end, but this all falls on the whole offense, from the players to the head coach to the coordinator. I'm not singling one guy out. That's all them guys because you're not using Jalen to run the ball. Where's his running game this year?
He had one design run tonight. See, that's
what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and it got called back, I think, because of a penalty.
Yeah, but is that because he said during the season he didn't want to be a run-first quarterback? Well, I hate – this is what I hate. This is what I don't understand. When you sign your name on the contract, that means that's your boss. If that guy tells you to run, you have to run. So if he's not running, so that means the boss that means the inmates are running the asylum.
Well, Kyle Schwarber batting second. I mean, it's a common theme in this town right now with the inmates running the asylum. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. But the Eagles need to get John Harbaugh tomorrow. Bring him in. Bring him in. Fire him. They need to clean house right now. And whether they can trade AJ in the offseason or not, you put somebody like Harbaugh with a real offensive coordinator, he won't pull that stunt.
I agree.
Wasn't it John Gruden who sat T.O. or somebody? Who did he sit? Was it T.O.? Did he go to T.O. go to Tampa?
No,
with John,
I think it was,
or somewhere.
Maybe he sat Sapp. He might have sat Sapp.
He sat somebody, and it wasn't. But that's the problem with this team. You just don't have. There's day one. It's just been horrible. There's no continuity. They were trying to, how do you put this? Run the same offense like they've been running for the last few years, but put a little different twist to it. Like there's no video out there of all last season. And Andy Reid, who hated the running game in Philadelphia, hated it. What was his most famous thing to do? Run the running back screen. They don't even try that here.
Nope.
It's like when they throw the ball to Saquon, it's a check down. That is not a straight screen pass. I don't understand why they don't get him out there like that. Get him out there.
Maybe they don't trust their offensive line to pull that way. I mean,
Jason could do it.
I mean, Kelsey came up in the league running that screenplay. So because with Andy Reid, but you're right. I don't know why they don't do it.
I mean, it's just this team has been inept. The defense carried as far as it could. The offense didn't carry their load. We all know that. Look, the fall guy is going to be the OC, and you know what? But here's the difference between Sirianni and Doug. Doug had a set of balls.
Yeah,
Sirianni has none. He'll give in and get rid of Petula. And here's the other thing: it wasn't just, if you remember that season correctly with Doug, it wasn't just that. Carson came out and said, "Look, I don't want Doug there." They got rid of Doug, and then he came out and said, "No, I don't want to play now. You got to get rid of Howie too." And that's when they said, "No, we're not cleaning house for you," which is the best thing that ever happened. For a guy who was psychologically burnt out, he couldn't handle the big lights of Philadelphia.
Or the big lights of DC, or the big lights of Indianapolis, or the big lights of Kansas City, or Minnesota.
But I mean, the good thing is the cupboard's not bare for the Eagles. They can still make a run next year. They just have to figure out
23 free agents. We got 23 incoming free agents, and they traded away 4 of their draft picks this season in trades that obviously we look back on now. And even with the Jalen Phillips trade, I don't know, did any of the trades really work out? I mean, I guess Tank did, right? You give Tank Bigsby, that was a good one. But other than that, did any of the other trades work out that he made?
Okay. No, not really. But now to get the Tank, whatever his name is, Tank. Okay, now there you go. You're telling me that's Jalen's fault that guy's not in the game?
Well, listen, I saw Tank Bigsby give the Eagles what he could give them, and that was not. I mean, he was coming out of that backfield and getting flattened a couple times too. He wasn't a difference maker tonight. But getting him out on the flat, getting him out outside in the flat, like to run that screenplay, yeah, maybe you're right. We absolutely. I'm not exonerating the play calling. I am not. But what I'm rallying against is this constant call of Jalen Hurts being an elite quarterback, which he's not. It was on display tonight. That's why we don't have an elite quarterback. Elite quarterback, I don't say they win this game, but I don't think we go down that way. I think it's a little bit of a different ending. To me,
is Caleb Williams an elite quarterback?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, he won the game. He brought him back and won.
Right, absolutely. But here's the thing with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams will run out, scramble for 25 yards, and then throw a pass as he's sliding out of bounds and complete it 65 yards down the field. Then the next play, he'll miss me. He'll overshoot me 5 yards from him. So Caleb Williams is a work in progress, but he's not an elite quarterback.
Now you got that. Now you have.
He does have a good play caller. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Josh Allen's considered an elite quarterback, right? Do you know Josh Allen won his first road playoff game? Because they've had every year they've had home field. They've had games at home.
Yeah.
But they can't beat the Chiefs. No matter what. So that's what I'm getting at. It's not that Jalen's probably around 15th, maybe 15 to 18th in this league.
He's somewhere there. I'll give him between 15 and 10. I will. Closer to 10.
No, he ain't 10. He's not 10. He's about 15. I'll say 15. He's somewhere in there. I don't know about 10, but he just has. They gave him all this money. That falls on Howie and them, for that. But yeah, well, season's over. Hopefully we get a new offensive coordinator. Hopefully we get a new head coach to start it off. He can clear house then.
Hopefully we're talking about Bichette tomorrow there, Piperneck. Hopefully that's what we're talking about tomorrow night.
Yeah, see, everybody wants to talk
Phillies. About. It's Phillies stuff we can talk about. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But what's going to happen when the Phillies score 10 runs and they can't and their pitching staff gives up 20?
I don't know. That's a great point. I have no idea. Maybe they do. Listen, you got to think that if they go out and get Bichette, right? There's got to be more moves coming because you can't sit. You're going to have to trade Miller. You're going to have to trade Bowman Miller. Miller and Bowman are going to get traded to bring in some help because you still need a catcher. You still need a freaking catcher, and you need some pitching help. So you're going to have to put something together.
I'm going to go back to Matt Klentak when he hired Carlos Santana. When I was telling you already, when he signed Carlos Santana, they made Reese Hoskins a left fielder. I'll bet money. If he
Harper's
gets
not going
signed,
back to right. He's not going back out in the out. I guarantee
Bichette's going to the outfield.
To the outfield.
Wait. Or Trey Turner. Wait, because there's been talk. Trey Turner to center field.
What,
yes.
Crawford in right? Are we gonna put Crawford in right field?
Whatever. Crawford in left. Garcia in right.
Okay. And then Castellanos in March or platooning off the bench. You're going to carry 5 outfielders.
Well, they're going to have to figure something out because look, this is, it's just like when Chip Kelly hoarded running backs and Matt Millen hoarded wide receivers in Detroit. I mean, we're just going to start signing players to big money and put them in positions he's never played. I mean, Bichette might be the center fielder next year. We don't know.
Listen, I mean, Bo Bichette will. What they do know about Bo Bichette, he'll sell jerseys and he'll put people in the seats.
Listen,
right?
they already made that move when they signed Kyle Schwarber because that's all they worried about. I was just telling my buddy that saying, no team in sports cares about winning. They just want to keep their star players there because it's just like when the Sixers had Ben Simmons all them years and he sucked. They weren't trading him because they were making millions and millions of dollars off his jerseys.
Yeah.
What do they care for? That's why they brought Schwarber back. They didn't bring Schwarber back because he's a one-trick pony. No. They brought him back because he's going to sell them.
Yep.
That's right. That's it. And this Bo Bichette thing, this is hard. This is going to be. I'm telling you, this is just the rabbit hole getting deeper, deeper, and deeper. And Don Mattingly, I get it. Is he a better manager? Yes, he is. But this is the third Yankee guy in a row.
Good way to look at it. Good way to look at it.
I mean, it hasn't worked. So, all right, Matty, I'll let you go. I guess you'll be on tomorrow, so I'll see you tomorrow night or something.
I will be back tomorrow, Papernick, and hopefully we're talking Phillies, man. Hopefully it's a big day. They signed Bichette, they trade Bohm, they pick up another pitcher, man. Hopefully it's a big day for the Phillies tomorrow.
I'll leave it with this. You're better off watching paint dry and Robbie make a baseball move. Oh, here's a question for you. Here's a question I want to ask you. I asked my buddy this question today. This is not Brett Brown, Robbie Thompson, and Nick Sirianni. You got to make one decision without consulting anybody or anything that can win you the game. Which one do you have confidence in?
Man, well, going off sheer of the fact that there's only one of those guys that actually have won the big game, I'm going to go with Sirianni. I'm going to default to him for that because he actually has seen it come to fruition. So I'll go with Sirianni.
My buddy took Robbie. Well, this is what he said. He go, at least he manages because Sirianni just stands there with pom-poms.
It's a good point,
just yells at reps all day.
Yeah, but Thompson manages ridiculously. He manages incorrectly. He manages wrong. So you're right.
So does Sirianni.
Yeah. No,
Think about that.
You said it. Sirianni just stands there and just cheers and yells. That's all he does.
That's why we need a head coach here.
I agree. All right, Papernick.
All right, Matt, you have a good night.
All right, Michael Papernick, everybody. Oh man. Yes, we can do the card review. We'll do it tomorrow, Joe. I've been so bad about this lately, and I do apologize. I have one right here. I'm staring at it. I've had it prepped for the last 3 days. I just haven't been able to get to it. I will do it, and we'll go back to the other night segment as well. We'll get back to things as usual tomorrow. Matt Fire, the Eagles coach. Oh, so now Ricky Deal. Yeah, you did say you want a Sirianni going. Joe Hale says 67 days until spring training starts. 67 days. That's not right, is it? Pitchers and catchers report around the 12th. So that's in like 30 days. The spring training games start at the end of the month, I think on the 21st. So that's you're about 40 days away from games. Then you get the WBC starting 5 March? Listen, we just got to get through the next month. We get to Valentine's Day, we're golden, right? You get to Valentine's Day, we're golden. I'm going to start breaking down Phillies. I'm going to start spotlighting Phillies players on our of the night segment here soon. Get finished up with the Flyers prospects. Start getting hotter into NHL draft prospects as well. And then segueing into the Phillies spotlight because we got to I've been holding off of that. Typically on typical seasons, I am already into Philly spotlight, but because I don't know who the team is right now yet. I'm waiting for all the dominoes to fall. I haven't done it yet, but we'll start here soon. But hey, 67 days, maybe until the opening day. I don't think that's right. Nah, that's not right. Pitchers and catchers report around Valentine's Day. And the first game is like the 21st, 22nd. It's like 45, 46, 47 days. Don't short me 20 days here, man. I want those 20 days as time served. Got to get back to baseball as soon as possible. But we'll talk more about that later. Can we do Matt need to fire the Eagles team? So Ricky Teal and Star Wars on the same let's fire them all mode here. Can't do that, Ricky, unfortunately. But there's a lot of work to be done. Now, of course, we're going to take this week, let all this settle by the end of next week or so, or maybe by the end of the Super Bowl, we'll start talking about plans and what the Eagles are going to do going forward. Oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts completed 3 passes down the middle tonight, which is about his average in a game. So it's a gut punch, man. I'm feeling it. All right, I really do. And again, I wanted to say that I came on here because I knew it. I know there's people listening in the shadows right now that are sharpening their knives. I understand that. I didn't want to come out here and I didn't want to do a victory lap. I did not want to be obnoxious. I did not want to say I told you so. But I do want to say those things because I have to hear it. I heard it every week. I've heard it on multiple platforms. I hear it from Kyle Quinn. I hear it from a lot of different people. People who don't think I'm listening, I'm hearing it. I listen to everything out there. You might not know that, but I'm out there, right? And I hear everything. People are thinking that I'm taking some sort of pleasure in this. I am, but not for the type of pleasure you think I am. I want to change. The culture of this organization is terrible. They won a Super Bowl last year, 100%, and I think it was by luck, honestly, now that we look back on it. If they would have won a Super Bowl this year, I mean, the opportunity that they had, they're not going to get back. Well, at least not for a couple years. It takes a lot to win a Super Bowl every year. And I don't want to hear that, well, you can't win a Super Bowl every season. Yes, you can. Absolutely can. 100% you can. And they should strive to do that every year, and especially this year. And as we look back on this season and the dust begins to clear, it might make a little bit more sense of some of the more unusual moves that Howie Roseman made over the spring by not signing certain core players back, by allowing certain players to leave, by signing certain A, B, or C level free agents, right? I mean, we're going to unpeel all of this in time. And we're going to take a look at all this in time. Let's look at the 2025 Eagles draft class. Name me one player out of that draft class that has stepped forward in 2025. Nobody did. Not one. Not one of the draft class of 2025 stepped forward. Now, I'm not labeling the class 25 a bust. It takes 3 seasons for a draft class to be properly evaluated, so I'm not labeling them a bust. But going into the season, relying on Keely Ringo and Brown to step into the spotlight, knowing God knows you knew that they couldn't, and we knew they couldn't, but accepting that that's what they were going to do as the right thing. Talking yourselves, I'm not going to say ourselves because I'd never talked myself into it, but talking yourselves into that being the right thing. Again, you call me the nut. I mean, I heard people say it. Keely Ringo will step up. What? Step up to where? He had it in the last 3 years. Right? The draft class of 2025 was a non-factor for the Eagles this year. Will they be a non-factor in 26 and 27? Time will tell. Don't know that. Name me the offseason moves. And I thought we talked about what? We talked about Tank Bigsby as being the one maybe really good move at how he made all offseason in retrospect. Jalen Phillips came in like a lion, went out like a lamb. So Tank Bigsby was the the prize of our offseason, and he came in the trade during the season or before the season started. What about A.J. Dillon? Somebody once told me that he was going to be running with vengeance in 2025. I don't know where he was running to with vengeance, but it wasn't on a football field wearing an Eagles uniform. 4 draft picks were sent away in order for Howie to see his dream. You had 2 players that came here and instantly retired because for some odd reason they didn't want to be here. Remember those stories? What about Jacorian Bennett? Right? It got so bad that they had to go and get Marcus Epps off the street and put him in. I'm just saying, man, and you guys call me the nut? Knowing that these moves didn't make any sense back in the spring and into the season and then during the trade deadline, I'm the nut because I don't jump like feet first into the Eagle volcano along with you guys. I'm sorry, man. I was right. Now, again, I text all this by saying, if you are a homer or if you know anybody that's suffering from homerism, it's a disease and it can be cured. Have them reach out to me and I will get them the help they need. I care about that. I want to save. If I can save one homer, then I've done a good job. And maybe tonight, maybe there's some more converts on coming along the way. I don't know. The Eagles missed an opportunity. You can package it and blame Kevin Padula as saying he was the reason why we lost in 2025. If you do that, I suggest you step back, right? Look yourself in the mirror and then say it again. Then say it again about 20 times. And hopefully by at least the 15th time, you'll realize how stupid that sounds. Is he a part of the problem? 100%. Right? But for 19 weeks, was it 18 games? What was 18 games? 11-7 total officially was their season record. For 18 games, they went right back to him. So does the head coach, does he deserve any fault in this? Damn right he does. And does your franchise quarterback, does he deserve fault? Damn right he does. Everybody deserves fault, but I'm sorry. I truly am. I truly am sorry for those out there that are hurting right now. And I know because I used to be you. I know how you would feel when the season would end abruptly. And I am sorry, but this is a necessary step to fixing the problems on this organization. And I hope they heed the signs and we make some moves going forward into the future. So that's going to wrap me up tonight. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Eagles lose 23-19. The season is over. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. I am not enjoying a victory lap. I am not reveling in my superiority over the homers. I'm not. I feel for you guys. I do. And like Big Al's Excuse Emporium that was running their Eagles game day specials. I hope you guys cashed in. The game day specials were Jalen Hurts has the it factor. They were, if our $200 million offense just does a little bit, we'll be fine. And I forget what the last one was. I think blame the coordinator maybe. Oh, yeah, that other teams are having problems too. Hope you cashed into the Big Al's Excuse Emporium today for their Eagles game day special. Turned out to be their final game day special of 2025. Next year, I'll do more with Big Al's Excuse Emporium. I promise you. Kind of got away from it, but I'll get back to it. The baseball season's coming. 23-19. Eagles won the time of possession battle. They won the turnover battle. But they did not win the game as they fall to the San Francisco 49ers. Up next for the Niners, it's a trip to what? They're going to what's his face? Going to Seattle. So it'll be Seattle and San Francisco and Chicago and Los Angeles in the NFC. So we'll have a new Super Bowl champion. We'll have a brand new Super Bowl. Like both teams will be new. both current or former Super Bowl teams are out. Are you going to stick around and watch the rest of this thing unfold? I might. I don't know. Thank you, Michael Papernick. Yes, Joe, we'll get back to I promise I will get back to the card review. As I said, I'm looking at the card right here that I had set aside, but I just haven't gotten to it. A lot bigger fish to fry. But tomorrow we'll get back to it. Tomorrow we'll be back. There'll be a schedule out probably late tomorrow night about what's coming up this week. Again, I'm waiting on Steelers stuff because the Steelers are still in the playoffs. And, of course, we have Steelers programming here on this network. So we're going to continue to ride their coattails here. And I'll have a schedule out as soon as I can. But I can tell you, though, for a fact, the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn will not be seen this week. And it will not be seen next week or the week after or the week after that. It'll be back Thursday after the Super Bowl. The Birds Flyby is also completed for the season, as obviously we're not going to do Eagles postgame until the next postgame. But again, thank you again to Mike Lauro for a great year doing postgame stuff for us. That's going to be it for me. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. Take a big, deep breath, stare out into the abyss, and say it once with me. Fire Howie. See ya.